Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Wise. Today we are at the next topic, that is the knight versus bishop, and we are at the second position of our topic. We have got a typical bad bishop case here, which is blocked by its own pawns in the center. Although the d pawn is a passed pawn, the knight has firmly blockaded that square, and the imbalance of the pawn structure on the queen side often allows white to get a passed pawn on the a file. White king is well placed. It eventually wants to use the e5 square. White went with the move g4, further trying to fix the g pawn on g6 to block this bishop. If g5 instantly, then f takes g5, f takes g5, knight f3, and the g5 would be lost. Black trades the pawns, hg4, hg4. Reduction in the number of pawns can often allow better defending possibilities. King c7, making place for the bishop on d7, from where it often goes to c8 and it can come out after the move a5. White plays kg3, bd7 and g5 as per his planning. Now black has several ways to continue here in the game. He played very passively, so after fg5, black played bishop c8, ke5, kd7, ke5, when black simply chose to resign. Look at the situation here. If king now moves to e7 in order to stop kf6, then c6 is simply lost. And if nothing is done, then kf6, kg6 will allow white to queen his g pawn. Black had to resign over here. There was nothing. But there were two cases where he could have definitely put up better resistance. Let us have a look at those variations. After g5, first continuation could be the instant move f5, which although makes the bishop bad, but at the same time stops the king's entry directly from the e5 square. And second is f takes g5, f takes g5, kd8, when after kf4, ke7, ke5, bishop can just wait on e8. So these are the two variations which we will look into some detail now. After f5, we see that g6 has become weak, and white instantly uses it with the move nf3. Knight is heading to e5, which will force the bishop to go back to e8, and the bishop will become totally passive. Bishop e8, knight e5, kd8. Black plays a waiting game and sees what white wants to do. King f3, ke7, ke3, ke6, kd4. This is all very standard. The king keeps eye on the e5 square. The d4 square is used as a blockading place by the king, and now this knight will move and try to attack the a pawn. So what will happen is king and the knight, they are constantly trying to eye the e5 square. At the same time, one of them will try to penetrate on the queen side, which is the other weakness here. So because of these three different weaknesses, black is unable to hold the game. ke7, and now comes a4. After a5, white will of course do nd3 as I told you, and next move will be b4, and the a passer will make white's position easily winning. Black plays ke6, and now white himself plays a5. This is the second plan, fixing the a pawn on a6, ke7, knight d3. This is the main problem for black. If the king would have gone towards b7, then the white king enters e5, e6, e7 and traps this bishop on e8. And if the king remains on e6 now, which is almost forced, stopping ke5, then the knight goes to b4, and here black's defense collapses. First a6 will be taken, knight will come back and use the a pawn for winning. Let's look at the second case now. So after g5, black would have taken fg, fg and just played kd8, kf4, ke7, ke5, and now bishop e8. This position is almost identical to the previous one. There are no f pawns here, so white's king has easily walked up to the e5 square. In the previous one, knight was on e5 and the king was on d4. So these weak squares, as very well said by Nimzowitsch, the weak squares are occupied by different pieces at different times, and the position usually collapses. So now white again can use the same plan, a4, a5, knight c2, knight b4. Let's see, because kd8 here would have lost to kd6. White has to be a bit careful. if he takes NC6, BC6, KC6 untimely, then the black D pawn would queen. But after BE8 now, white can use the move knight E6 check, forcing the king to go away. KE7, BD7 forced, and now amongst many things he can do just XD4. So this will force black to play KC7 and white goes KF7 and wins the G pawn. KF7, bishop F5 only move. We see that after knight F5, GF5, G6, D4, G7, D3, G8 queens way before. The pawn would be still on D2 and would be easily stopped by the white queen on G8. Thus black goes BE8, A4, BD7, once again A5, bishop E8, and this time knight comes to C2. Knight is heading to B4. After BD7, knight B4, we see that BC8 simply allows NC6 check, and there is no other way to protect the pawn on A6. So white would just take the A6 pawn, come back with his knight on B4 and start pushing his A pawn and win the game. Again, I would say this position was also not very difficult, but these are some basic positions which will help us understand the complexities of positions once we get positions with more pieces. I hope you will find the lesson useful and instructive. Thanks for your time.